Welcome back to Call Me By Your Game, the podcast where I, your host Connor McCabe, bring on a guest to discuss with them a meaningful video game from a particular moment in their life. This is a podcast about what makes video games special to different people and about just, the time and place of when it hit for them. A little bit of housekeeping up top is that anything that my guest or I plug on the show today can be found in a gorgeous little link in the show notes. So whether you are watching on YouTube or you're listening on whatever your favorite podcast catcher is, like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, if you want to follow someone on social media or check out another podcast we have, or even possibly a Patreon where you can find bonus video game podcasts from me, there's going to be a link in the show notes. Just scroll down wherever you're listening. It should be pretty easy to find. And that's going to do it for the table setting for the episode, and I'll finally introduce our guest for today's episode. So please welcome Dodger faithful, soon-to-be student, and video producer Matt Acevedo. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey, Connor, thanks again for having me. I'm very excited for today. It's going to be really special. It's going to be a really special one for sure. It's something that's I find kind of personal, so I'm pretty
very
stoked.
good.
It got me through a lot. So,
dude, that is an incredible tease. This is a podcast professional we have today, folks.
I got you, man.
Dude.
We're gonna give you a little tease right now, a little taste of what's coming.
I'm salivating over here. Well, Matt, I'm so excited to have you on. As far as getting to know you a little bit, we know each other through friend of the show Patrick Ellers, and also friend of the show Mark Mitchell. But I think my connection to you more specifically came through Patrick. We, as recently, listeners of the show, whether they're on the Patreon or if people listen on YouTube, they'll know that you were featured on the Shovel Knight co-op episode for the month of April, where we discussed all things Shovel Knight, Shovel of Hope. It's like the first time I think we ever had a real conversation. But unless I'm forgetting something, but I know that I had followed you on social media for a little bit because of your appearances on Patrick and Mark's show. So in the co-op episode this is a thing that phenomenon, as I'll call it, that happens sometimes on the show where I'm looking for another person to be on a group episode. A friend recommends a friend. That friend comes on and is so wonderful that I'm like, well, I gotta have this person on the main show.
Thanks, man.
You betcha. So
yeah,
that's how we have come to know each other. Oh, I have like a time bomb to drop on you from this is going to sound a little creepy, but I'm just going to tell you. So, Matt,
yes.
Before we had met, I was familiar with you, as I've already said, through Patrick and Mark's show, so I knew who you were. I think I'd seen you on social media, so I even knew what you looked like. If people are watching on YouTube, it's this classic look right here. When I went to pick up my PlayStation 5 on launch day from the GameStop on Sunset Boulevard, who was there but someone I recognized and didn't know, and it was you, Matt.
Are you kidding me?
I was there.
That memory's incredible.
Yes.
Oh my
it's one
God.
of those things too where I was familiar with you, but I was like, we've never met, so I'm not going to talk to this person. It was also November 2020 where almost everyone is wearing a mask. Everyone is protecting themselves from COVID. It wasn't exactly the right context to come up and be buddy-buddy with someone, but I remember seeing you there, and we were one of the first 5 people or so who were there for pre-orders.
Oh my God.
Yes. Is this all
having
coming?
a brain blast because we waited. We got there early before the store opened.
Yes.
So we were waiting out front on Sunset.
Yes.
Probably an hour and a half until it opened. We talked about stuff. I think we talked.
Maybe we did say hi, but I don't know if I was like, hey, I know who you are. I think maybe it was line chatter or something like that.
Absolutely, that's definitely something that I it's in my blood to just talk to strangers.
Yes, totally.
So, especially because we were all pretty hyped for the launch, and
totally.
I think we were all just kind of bonding about it and stuff. But that. I just had a brain blast because it's I think we all were masked. We were masked up.
Yes.
And oh my God.
I'm
Connor, that's crazy.
I can almost say I'm sure you were wearing a Dodgers hat because they were recent world champs and you've already been a huge fan. Well, also here's something I remember from that day. So first of all, sorry to drop this bomb on you, but I've thought about this every time before we met that like you would come up. In the back of my mind, I'd be like, I felt really weird knowing who you were, like standing around. Just it's almost felt like I was like, oh, I know this celebrity, and I'm not gonna say hi to them. Like, oh, here's Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bother him right now, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Very much a Los
Wow.
Angeles phenomenon that we have living here.
Thanks, man. I wear my LA pride. I take it very seriously. I love the city. I love the culture. We have like the most diversity city on the planet.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's incredible. So yeah, that means a lot. Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
dude.
That's crazy.
Even our little unwritten rules we respect like those. But one thing I remember about this day, I don't know if you remember this happening, but there were those of us who had shown up early for pre-order. So we had sort of like formed a line, like this is the pre-order line. And
Yeah.
But obviously there were people who weren't able to get pre-orders who showed up hoping to get any stock that may have been available. And it was just chaos because I think when the store was getting ready to open, the employees there, I don't know if they were overwhelmed or what, but they didn't really like what they should have done.
Yeah.
And I'll give them notes here. What they should have done is come outside and been like, hey, everyone, I know everyone's here is excited for the PlayStation 5. If you have a pre-order with the store right now, form a line here. And if you do not, form a line here. We're going to help the people with anyway.
that is the note, right?
Yeah, that's like it's.
Yeah.
I haven't even been at a store when this is happening outside of that. So, hey, I'm just spitballing here. But I just remember that it was chaotic, and I think we, like the people in line, sort of like self-governed for a second, and we're like, oh, we're all in line for pre-orders. If you're not, maybe stand over here, because there was suddenly like a fear. Some of this stuff is coming back, and I'm sorry to bring all this up, but
Oh, this is awesome. This is amazing, dude.
there was like a sudden fear too, because of like, what if they help the people who don't have pre-orders first, and then those of us who don't get our consoles, which I'm sure they have a fail-safe for that, but I was definitely concerned about that for a moment.
Yeah, and I'm just like, hey, we've been here since, we've been here for so long,
Yeah, I got here at 8:30 and you open at 10.
Yeah, exactly. There's like there is an order to how this kind of, like an unspoken rule that we in this society should understand,
Yeah, it was just stressful and chaotic. Thankfully, we got out of there. I'm pretty sure, I would assume you got out of there unscathed with whatever you pre-ordered with your PlayStation 5. I remember I had gotten... all I got with it was Miles Morales when it came out. But
I think I got that. I think that's all I got on opening on the first day, actually, because it came with. And then I bought Bug Snacks, but that was on digital.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah,
I think it was digital
only. It's a
only.
surprisingly delightful game.
Yes, dude, a game that I was like, oh, I'm gonna love that. Never turned it on, and it just sat on my PS Plus forever. And now I don't even have PS Plus, so I don't have access to it. But anyway. I took us back to a very specific time and place nearly 5 years ago, but as I was doing the whole normal routine of this is how we know each other, I was like, wait a second, I have a story that needs to be told on the pod. So there you go, Matt.
Dude, that's an amazing story. Seriously, that is so crazy. What a small world. I remember this day very vividly too. I took it back to Hyper and we live streamed playing it.
Oh, really?
The PS5. Yeah, we did the thing where we streamed immediately. It was a fun day. Because everything had been like so dark and sad, and it was like, for me it was like the Dodgers, and then the PlayStation like got me through that.
A ray of sunshine.
Looking forward to it. Yeah. That's crazy. What a small world. That was the first time we must have interfaced, because we had talked on, I think we had tried to coordinate something on social media before.
Maybe, yeah.
I think there was a last minute dropout. I think it was this one, but then I couldn't make it. But do you know Christian Humes? Do you know from the Unranked podcast? He's another friend of Patrick. And
I don't think I've met Christian, but that name sounds very familiar.
Yeah, it's just crazy because he's like one of my best friends now.
Okay.
Sorry, a little tangent, but it's very similar where like years in 2016 we were at a Hamilton sing-along like thing in Hollywood that we do, and I sang like the King George song.
Yes.
And then there's a video that resurfaced like a year ago of me handing him the mic to do the next song, and we didn't know each other then. Now we're like best friends. It's just like, what the heck? So just those small little coincidences I think are so cool, man.
I do too. I can get really like excited about that, especially when like you do get to connect with someone later. Like you and I have gotten to like actually connect the last few weeks or month or so. So, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of just blurted all out of like, that's how I know you. It's how I'm familiar with you. But is there anything else, Matt, you'd like to share with the listener about yourself or anything you even feel like plugging up top?
Oh, for sure. Hey, everyone, I'm Matt Acevedo. It's nice to finally formally meet everyone who listened to this podcast.
Wow, they're cheering. I can hear it from the future. My goodness.
Wow. Wow. Oh, that feels so good.
Yeah.
That feels so
Actually,
good.
guys, calm down a little bit.
I'm a LA native, born and raised here. Some things about me: I've a freelance host, so I've been weird spots on the internet. I've hosted for Funimation, Crunchyroll, Nintendo back in the day.
Wow.
Just all over the place. Just doing random live stream hosting for those companies. And then that's my freelance job. And then I'm also a producer. I've been producing for like 10 years now, produced at Disney, doing all their branding, content marketing. I was at Stupid Buddy, worked on Robot Chicken for a season. And now I'm working at a company called Hyper Rabbit Media, which was Hyper RPG. They were a live stream company on Twitch that now are just a boutique production company.
Yeah.
And we're an official vendor for like Xbox, Amazon, and AMC. So lately Xbox has been like our biggest client, where I've been producing Xbox like developer showcases.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I did like we just shot one that's in progress.
Cool.
Sorry, I almost said something, but there's one that's coming. And then we did the Stalker 2 one that we shot in Prague, and we did the Overwatch 2 Spotlight that came out like a month ago. That was like the big update. We did the virtual production and everything up at the Xbox studio. So I'm in the shadows, like working around. You know, I'm not as much on like I took a little bit of a break after the pandemic from like a lot on camera stuff to focus more on producing. Like I said, that for me, that producing or hosting was like freelance. It was like nice side money that I could save for like me and my wife to do fun stuff. So
dude, jack of all trades over here.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and I'm starting USC's TV and film production MFA in the fall. I'm very stoked. So
dude, that's right.
My next journey.
The viewers on YouTube, sorry audio listeners, they can't see your just crispy USC baseball hat that you have on, and we've got a foam finger that's a peace sign with USC behind you as well, and
you got a Freddie Freeman walk-off grand slam bobblehead.
Wow. You can kind of see
blown
that,
out, but yeah.
Yes, I know I mentioned this to you before, but I'm a producer of this show. Actually, I know I mentioned my friend Jeremy, who just finished the first semester in the same program. He's the producer of the show. I talked to him at a birthday party this weekend, and I was like, I got somebody to connect you with. So I think off pod on like email, I'll connect you to. So, and I think it's going to be really great for you to connect with him specifically. This is so unrelated to the pod, but because he, like you, is a veteran of, video producing, filmmaking. You both are not, finishing undergrad and getting into this. You've had experience. And so there were just some surprises of like going into like a cohort that was not that. So I think it'll be great for you guys to connect. And congratulations. And I hope next fall is awesome.
Man. Thanks, man. Let him know I'm ready to help him with whatever project he needs help with. Like, I'm all about collaboration. Like, let's just make cool stuff. I don't want to get pigeonholed as a producer. I'm trying to do the stuff I don't know.
Okay, very good.
Man.
Before we move on, do you want to plug any social media or any place that people can find you on the internet?
Oh, sure. Lately, I used to be Twitter used to be like really active, but now I took a break ever since, the world. And, but you can follow me on all socials at the Matt Acevedo. I primarily just post on Instagram.
Great.
I post a lot of stories just to show friends and family what I'm up to, but I'm usually doing I'm doing pretty fun, cool stuff.
I love it.
If you're just want someone else to scroll on, check that out. And then also I do a podcast called the Mass Effect Adventum podcast.
Yes.
It is a tabletop RPG that's set in the Mass Effect universe using Mass Effect D20, which is a fan-made system that's very good. And we've been doing that since 2017. And geez, it's a lot of fun. And we've had really good guests on, like Joe Shire from Smosh, and we've had Mark Meir on. He played a Vorcha, who's the voice of Commander Shepard.
Yeah.
So and Bert, our GM, that guy's a really, really good game master. He's a really good game master, dude.
Incredible.
And he also works at a video game company called Turn Me Up Games. So they're come check it out.
Yeah, dude.
If you're bored.
I love it. I mean, listeners of this show especially like that, especially the Mass Effect heads out there. We've done some Mass Effect coverage in the past few years, so they'll be ready for it. I'll put a link to those things, your socials and the Mass Effect Eventum podcast in the show notes. Before we get into a little bit of your gaming history, will you do me a favor and introduce what you brought on for the main event and call me by your game?
Today, Connor and friends, I am bringing the epic Persona 5 Royal.
I can't wait.
And I am so excited, and I am so honored that I get to be the one to bring this game to the show because it is so incredible.
Yes.
So incredible.
A game that just has so much love for it out there. I'm pumped to hear from you a little bit later on that, but I'm going to hit some spots in your history as a gamer to just like start to get us a little more familiar with you and video games. Can you recall, Matt, some of your earliest memories when it comes to video games, whether it be playing yourself or watching someone else play a video game?
Oh my God, Connor, this is such a nice question. I feel like this is so personal.
Dude,
Thank you.
Honestly,
wow.
It's like the easiest way I can connect with people, so happy to do it.
Wow, dude, yeah. I remember the earliest memory I have is I remember being at my uncle, my abuela's house and my uncle Percy. And my Aunt Sonia, they lived in the same house, And the earliest memory I have of a game of not just playing but beating. The first memory of the game I ever beat was I would go to his house because they would babysit me, and I beat Yoshi's Island and
oh my gosh,
Super Mario World 2. And that game is very special to me because, like I said, first game I ever beat. As a platformer, it's challenging. I remember getting to that final. Yeah, it's a hard game, dude. And I remember getting to that final baby Bowser fight where he turns huge, and I was like, "Is this really happening?" It kind of blew my mind as a kid. I was in kindergarten, So that was like the first game I remember beating. The first console I remember owning was the Super Nintendo. I finally got my own.
Oh, cool.
So I had a Super Nintendo, played a lot of NBA Jam with like my dad, and Super Mario World and Super Mario All-Stars were my first intro to like the Mario franchise. Super Mario World, I would say, is actually my favorite game of all time.
Okay.
I like it more than like Mario 3. And I didn't play Mario 3. I played Mario All-Stars. I had all of them. So I thought that was like, I thought that was like the game. I thought that was the original, but because I was like a kid. So I remember getting that. I remember I had the millennial Christmas where I got the N64 with Mario 64 and Mario Kart. I remember also getting the Game Boy Color with Pokemon Red on it.
Oh my gosh.
And at the time, I didn't know what Pokemon was, but it kind of, and maybe the timeline, because as a kid, it's all kind of discombobulated, but I remember, like, once I got that Game Boy Color, Pokemon was just in my life everywhere. I watched it every morning on UPN 13 before school.
Wow.
It would be on Kids WB after school. It would be on Saturday mornings. I got the trading cards, and I did the whole thing, but I didn't know how to play the game, and I got swindled by my next door neighbor who was 4 years older to trading my Charizard for
a rite of passage, jeez.
Yeah, right. I traded this holographic Charizard for the Tentacruel for for his Tentacruel because in the show it was like a kaiju. I was like, wow.
Yes.
So that was like, I was big Nintendo my whole life. I've had every single Nintendo console. If I didn't have it, my cousin would have it because he lived at my abuela's house with my aunt and Uncle Percy and Sonia, and because I would go there every single day before and after school because they would watch me. So we would take turns playing like everything, dude. There was a phase where we'd wake up, I'd go over there, he'd have the GameCube, and we'd like power through like Mario Sunshine, Sonic Battle Adventure 2, and right before we'd watch like MTV, like watching Usher's Let It Burn music video.
Yes.
And like,
Excuse me.
And then play a little bit of that, Smash Bros, of course, was huge. Sorry, I feel like I'm rambling.
Dude, you're okay. No, this is great. And like, you're already giving me a really good idea, or at least like a semblance of an idea of your life as a gamer, because we have one thing that I really appreciate about the show, and this comes up every so often, is that I can have all walks of gamer on to share it, because all you need is one memorable experience, and boom, you can be a guest on the show. Some people don't have like 3 game experiences in their life, and other people like us seemingly have had Nintendo injected into our veins since we were a kid.
Yeah, Nintendo's been there my whole life.
Yeah.
I didn't get a PlayStation 1. My cousin, who got, the one I always went to, he got the PlayStation 1. And we didn't have a memory card. So I remember, like, we'd have to, like, try and binge through games. Like Crash Bandicoot, we'd just binge. Or, like, Atlantis, the Lost Empire.
Oh, my
We
gosh.
got so frustrated because we got towards the end and we didn't know that bubbles give you air underwater. So, like, we're like, this is impossible.
Yes.
So like he had the first place at Sony I owned was the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
My dad got me that for Christmas with Jack and Daxter, and
Ooh.
that was kind of crazy. That was like a crazy like 2001 Christmas or 2002, but that was nuts. And then I remember seeing in 5th grade the trailer for Kingdom Hearts on TV after like a McDonald's spa on Nickelodeon, and just seeing like this Utada Hikaru song banging, and then like Disney and Final Fantasy and me and my friends were like, we have to play this game. And
Yes.
I played every single Kingdom Hearts, and I didn't get an
Wow.
Xbox. The first Xbox I got was the 360, but
Okay.
I played the Xbox at my friend Patrick's house, who got every console. And we did. And what I love about all the party games growing up, dude, it's like where we opened up for therapy with our friends.
Yes.
We'd be like playing like Blood Gulch, and then like being like, dude, I think I like Andrea, and they'd be like, oh, dude, nice snipe. And then like, oh man, I think you'd be really good for, yeah, man, thanks for opening up. Like,
That's so funny. Yes.
it was like the time where we all came together while we're gaming, like between that, Smash Bros. Melee and
Yes.
stuff, and we just like open up about our feelings. I don't know if anyone else felt that, but that for some reason that was like our way of like talking about stuff,
That makes a lot of sense. I definitely did the same thing growing up with like my closer friends, and I think gaming is one of many like subjects or hobbies that can sort of make it easier to connect, where you don't have to think about, what do I talk to this person about? Do I ask them where they're from? Like, how do I start the small talk of this conversation? If you can just like connect about something like, to working together to beat the red team in Blood Gulch, all that washes away, and then suddenly you are just connecting, and there's an opportunity to like talk about your feelings or get to know each other better.
Yeah, dude, it was the best, and I just, it's been a core foundation of our friendship. With like people, I'm still friends with, like, I'm very like the 3 best friends I had, and like one of my best friends I met in 4th grade, and he's my best friend now, and he's he's like he like officiated my wedding, and he's the editor for. He's doing great, dude. He's the editor for like FX. He's the lead editor for Dave, Reservation Dogs.
Wow.
He's crushing it. I'm really stoked for him. But he's like my best friend. We're probably gonna work on a film together. But
Dude.
like we got together because of gaming, dude. Like, it's just been a core to me. It's been very important in my life.
Yes.
Even it's how I would get friends. Oh my god, when the DS introduced like Street Pass, and I was like take my DS everywhere.
Yes.
And I just try and like farm every single person I could from. Like I would take it to like conventions and just try to get every state or country on my DS, and like it just like it's like I said, Nintendo's been the through line for me.
Yeah.
I've owned almost every Nintendo console except for the Wii U, because I just had a roommate who had it, and I was a broke college student. But
Yes.
but like I've owned every other console. I've owned like I bought like I think 5 Switches.
Oh, wow.
In the cycle. Yeah, launch day Switch, the Switch Lite Yellow.
Yes.
Then they were like, oh, the Game Boy Color Blue Switch Lite. So then I traded the yellow for the Switch Lite Blue. Then they were like, oh, Animal Crossing Switch console. Oh, so I traded my OG Switch for the Animal Crossing Switch.
Okay, nice.
And then the OLED came out. Oh my god, I bought more. The OLED came out, and then the Splatoon OLED came out.
I see.
So I bought, I guess, 6 Switches in the lifetime.
Yes.
I only own 3 right now. I want one of each model. So the base, light, and the OLED.
Okay,
so,
gotcha.
And now the Switch too. So like,
Dude.
I love this stuff, man. I think it's just a great way to connect, and I streamed for a while, but I stopped because it wasn't like, I'm like, who's this? This isn't for me anymore. Is what for me. I
see.
For some people it is, but like for me, I was like, I don't feel like. I remember beating like Breath of the Wild on stream, and I'm like, man, like it didn't feel. It felt like it's like more of a personal thing, and I felt like, because when you're on stream, you're like almost kind of over like. You're like a heightened version of yourself, because you're still like performing, and I just like remember like I don't want to do this anymore, because this is a way for me to unwind and like experience things for myself,
Dude,
So Yeah.
I can relate to that big time. I do some streaming myself, and like there are certain games that I play, and not even based on subject matter really, but there are certain experiences that I'm like, that's going to be a me off-stream experience where I can, because I get, especially what's happened the last few years is for our Games Club series that we do on our Patreon, if it's a game I'm playing on my PC, I will usually stream it. But if it's a game that I'm playing on anything else, I pretty much use that as like a me time game. And I noticed that like while I am, engaging with chat and also maybe making more out loud observations while I'm playing a game to like, I don't know, be a little entertaining, but also just retain information. Those experiences are so different. Like I get such a different, I get different things out of streaming and not streaming a game. And there are plenty of times too where I'm like, I don't want to do this right now, because it is a whole performance like you were saying.
Yeah, and even like I think part of it too is the retention. I think maybe as I'm getting older, like the multitask is not as fun, or like it's a little harder. And I think treating it more, I love, like when I go on like Patrick's podcast all the time, I love, it's almost like a book club, and because I'm like able to retain and like I take notes and stuff, and then we can discuss it. But like doing both at the same time, it is a talent. I give credit to everyone who was able to do it, but I just didn't like that it was taking me away from the connection I was actually forming with the game.
Yeah.
So
that is so relatable, dude. I have a few additional questions about your gaming history, and this is obviously one of those scenarios where we could probably do a 6-hour podcast on your entire history with games.
Yeah.
But we're fitting it into like, I don't know, 30 minutes. But I've got a couple questions to close us. But before I get there, are there a couple other meaningful game experiences that you wanted to shout out in this brief section that we have here? I know you already hit Yoshi's Island and how that was a big one for you. And I know you were even considering bringing that on for the main event, and I sort of steered you towards Persona 5. But yeah, do you think, like thinking back to another era, maybe like whether it be the GameCube or the Wii or another DS experience, is there another one you just feel like shouting out while we're here?
Oh man, I think the one I have, this game in particular, I kind of briefly touched upon it for a second, but
sure.
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yes,
has like a major place in my heart, and I as much as I criticized the third one, I still am gonna play the next one.
Yeah.
But like those first, I played every single game, even like they're technically part of the main story, so you kind of have to play them. But like I played every single game, and I just remember like, how, even to this day, me and my friends still reference Kingdom Hearts and like how much of an impact that game had on us. Oh man, I remember like that ending of the first one where Kairi and Sora are, they're like next to the door of Kingdom Hearts and they're trying to get away, but they're like on two separate islands, and they're like, he's like, oh, I'm getting like emotional talking about it. like in Sora's like, Kairi, I'll come back for you, I promise. And she goes, I know you will. And then Utani Hikaru needle drop, when you walk, and they start going apart. I was like, oh
my gosh. Yeah, there's like a reason that those games can, as much as some people might like to make fun of the silliness in them or things that are just like almost like the lore that can be nonsensical, there's a reason why it strikes such a chord with people, is moments like that.
Yeah, man, absolutely. That one was just that one stayed with me, dude, a lot.
Yes.
Even over like Ocarina of Time, which is wild because Ocarina is a masterpiece. But like, God. So that one's like, if I get emotional thinking about those first couple games, man, like
it'll take you to a place.
Dude, and then you get the secret endings. Like if you get the secret ending where it shows like a hooded figure. I'm like, is that Riku? And like he's fighting like a shadowed figure. Like, what's happening?
Yeah. Dude, so my experience with that series is pretty limited, but like I've had friends, even in the last few years, get really into the series, and so I've played. You don't need to know this, but I'm going to tell you. I've played some of the first one. I have it on PS2 now. I got it in like 2020 for whatever reason. So I only got through the Tarzan world in that one, so not very far. Maybe like 3 worlds in or so. But the game I've had the most fun with in the series is one that I still need to pick back up because I'm in the middle of it now, which is on the PSP, Birth by Sleep.
Oh, Birth by Sleep, dude.
Dude,
that one's good.
Rocks. I've done Ventus' story, and I'm in Terra's story right now. I'm probably about halfway through Terra's, but it was a game that I was like playing for 20 minutes before sleep on my Vita for a while.
Wow.
But I need to get back to it. But dude, like even just that game in particular, I love it. There's something so satisfying about playing that game.
Well, for me, I think it's the first action RPG I've ever played. Which I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Because I didn't really get Pokemon was like I played every single Pokemon.
Yeah,
and I guess that's my intro to turn based. But it's a little like limited in terms of turn based, like because Final Fantasy and even we're going to talk about Persona, it gets much more crunchy.
Yeah,
but like I remember because as a kid, your attention span for some people like mine was like I need to move a little faster. Just this game was it just felt like it's fast paced but it's still RPG. I thought it was kind of revolutionary for me. I'd never played anything like that before.
Dude, it was probably an intro for so many people to the action RPG genre, and like also served as like a building block for that moving forward. I mean, like a game I really love, like a lot of people, is the Final Fantasy VII Remake series, which you can see the DNA connection there quite easily.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude. Yeah, and so the remake's really good. I think it's a good intro as well for people. Like real crunchy, real fun,
big time,
fast pace.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm glad you touched on Kingdom Hearts a little bit. I've got two more questions for you in this segment.
Sure.
The first of which is, well, what's a more recent gaming experience of yours that you want to highlight? Whether it be something you played that you're playing now, or that you played within the last few years that you're like, ooh, I don't want to leave this segment without sharing that.
There's a few that come to mind.
Cool.
So I'll briefly talk about each one. First off, I'm not done with it yet, but I'm currently getting through Expedition 33, which is, dude, it's really good, incredible storytelling. I mean, they're already making a movie out of it.
Really?
Well acted. Yeah, dude,
wow.
It's already being developed.
Fast.
And like the game came out like a couple weeks ago. But great game. It's turn based, but with reaction. Like you need to parry a lot, and it's you have to pay attention. So it's very fun in that regard. But the story is also just very, very good and like emotional. So that one's I'm powering through that. And then Persona 3 Reload.
All right.
Which I finally played. I never played Persona 3 until the Reload, and oh man, that one I beat last year, and what a game. That's the one that's like kind of started this new revolution for like, that franchise, which we'll talk about later. But that one's all about, each of the, from 3, 4, and 5, it's like they're all kind of different kind of like taglines. Like this one, like the one we're going to talk about is like who you are when you're face like societal norms.
Oh, yes.
When you break those. 4 is who are you when you face yourself, like the dark side of yourself, and then 3 is who are you when you face death.
Yes.
So it's like really heavy themes. It's very, very good story. The combat's a little more. It's a little like you just climb Tartarus, while 4 and 5 have different theming and palaces and stuff. 3 is just like a dungeon crawl.
Yes.
So to some people it might not be their favorite in terms of like it gets a little repetitive, but I ate that up, man. So
Dude.
3 was really good, and then I'm trying to think of the last Switch game I played. I feel like I took a little bit of a lull after what was the last games that came out.
It's been a quiet time for first party Switch games. I mean, there was only I think they released like Donkey Kong Country Returns on Switch this year, or, the port, but
yeah.
I'm having trouble remembering. Like I know I played the Zelda Echoes of Wisdom last year, but that was one of very few new Switch titles.
Yeah, and I thought I liked Echoes of Wisdom. This one I really liked. Mario and Luigi Brothership. I beat that all the way through. I really enjoyed it. I think it's like probably my second favorite of the Mario RPG.
Oh, wow.
Second or third between like. The Game Boy Advance ones are my favorite. Patrick doesn't like the Game Boy Advance one, but yes. I love the Game Boy Advance ones. But the Brothership I thought was really, really fun. So that one, yeah, for sure.
Gosh,
I keep a list of all the games I play and the games I beat every year.
Dude,
on
I did the same
notes.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's so easy to. But for you too, I bet we play like a lot of games, so I gotta keep the notes, man. You
Definitely.
know?
It's kind of fun to look back and be like, oh my gosh, in 2022 I finished X amount of games, and that was the first time I played Portal or whatever. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly, dude. Exactly.
So, dude, that's great. I'm glad to hear that because I don't know. You might be the first person I know who played Brothership, and I'm someone who had, like a lot of people who has started a lot of Mario and Luigi games, and I really like them, but I've never finished one. And so I'm just happy to hear that somebody really liked Brothership.
Oh yeah, it's just delightful, you know. And of course, I'm still playing through Balatro. That's like my pal, you know.
Yes.
I just need to do a run of Balatro and stuff.
Dude.
But, sorry, one more real quick. This is one that's just like an arcade. It's just it's also like a love-hate relationship. I play a lot of MLB The Show every year, so I'm playing 25 right now. And it's such a love-hate relationship with that game.
The way that I hear friends talk about, like, who are into it like you, or like I have a friend who can't quit the 2K franchise for NBA. It's always the same thing. It's like, here's my love-hate relationship with this series.
Yeah, but it's addicting. So, yeah, those are the games, the most recent that, you know, I think 3 is the one that really stood out the most. That's one, like, the story really stayed with me, you know?
That's great. One quick question about the show. Are you doing, like, a Dodger season? Are you doing a road to the show? What's your routine like?
I'm a glutton for punishment, so I'm doing a lot of Diamond Dynasty, which for those who don't know, it's like you collect trading cards and you don't need to buy them. You get like so many of the packs of trading cards, and they're actual baseball cards. And then you make a team with your baseball cards, and they have stats and stuff. And then you go and compete with each other, and you try and like up your ranking, you know. And there's seasons, so you want to try and get like higher in your season and stuff. But there's also mini games you can play in there. Like there's a conquest mode that's like you play against a CPU, but it's like a board, like a game board, and like you're trying to like go to different stadiums and collect things, and it's a pretty juicy game. Also, I am doing Road to the Show.
Cool.
That one I do when I'm just trying to like warm up a bit. It gets really hard though, because your PCI meter is so small because you're like only like level 61 overall, and it's like, oh my god. And so I actually take like I take batting practice.
Yes.
Before I get into the actual game, I'll take 50 pitches.
I love it. You're literally warming up to go play.
Yeah, dude. And I found something recently that I perform better when I am listening to like with my Beats headphones, like noise cancellation, when I'm listening to like Childish Gambino radio. Dude. And I like lock in. It's very specific.
Okay, we're connected on Discord. We're in a couple servers together now, you and I do see, it does tell me that you have been listening to a lot of Childish Gambino, so that is filling in context for me, because I've been like, wow, Matt really likes Childish Gambino, and that's why. And there we go.
I forgot that that's connected. That's
it's
so
like
funny.
Public. Yeah, it's just sharing. It's putting you on blast. But I mean, Gambino's amazing, so that's awesome.
Yeah, it really helps me lock in, dude. It's weird. It's like, dude, I could see it better. Because maybe the sound of the ball coming throws me off. I don't know, but when I do that, I'm like locked in, dude.
Dude, it gets you in the zone. I love that. The last question I have for you is, what is a game that you are looking forward to playing that you haven't gotten to? This can be something unreleased or something that's in your backlog. What's coming up? What do you have your eye on is what I'm asking.
Oh man, great question. So I'll go 2 routes. One is one that's not released. It's Silk Song. I am dying to play Silk Song. I played it in 2019 at E3 with Patrick was there. Yeah, you did. Were you there too?
No, I meant like I knew that Patrick and Mark had done the same, but sorry, what you were saying?
Yeah, and I played it in 2019, but to see it on the Direct means there's life, and they're saying it's this year, and I think they're on track for some sort of delivery in Q3 or 4.
Wow.
I'm dying to play Silk Song, so that one for sure.
Cool.
Along with Prime 4, because I got to demo that. I got to demo that, dude, at the Nintendo event for the Switch 2.
Oh, yes.
And I played like 20 minutes up to the first boss.
Ooh,
crispy. Very
nice.
Crispy. Looks amazing. Feels great. So that, and then on the back catalog, God, I have so many games.
Dude, I know. Welcome to the club.
Many games. Yeah, man. I think the one that I picked up that I haven't touched yet is there's two, and they're kind of dated now. But one is I haven't played Pikmin 4. I have it. It's in my Switch right now, but I have not finished. I have not started Pikmin 4, so I'm going to do that because it's a short game. You know, I think now's the time.
Yeah.
And then also Star Wars Survivor, Jedi Survivor.
Dude.
Yeah.
I love both of those two games you just named. Completely different experiences, obviously, but both two of my favorite 2023 releases right there, dude. Did you play Fallen Order, the previous title?
But I did the same thing I did with Survivor. I think Survivor came out the same day as another game, and just like with Fallen Order, that one came out when the same day as Pokemon Sword, I think.
Oh.
And I bought both at GameStop, and then I just played Pokemon Sword.
Yes.
And I think the same thing happened with Survivor.
Dude, I can tell you what happened with Survivor. That came out 2 weeks exactly before Tears of the Kingdom. So did you play Tears of the Kingdom? Because
that's exactly what happened. Yeah. It's the curse, but I've loved the first one, and I know I'm gonna love the second one. I just gotta freaking play it.
Dude, well, it's there. Man, I love that game too. We do. I mean, you were just on the Shovel Knight co-op episode, one of our bonuses that I do every month, and a couple years ago. But I only started doing like themes. Like last year, we did great sequels, so we covered like Half-Life 2, Psychonauts 2, Secret of Monkey Island 2.
Great games.
This year is obviously the indie titles as you've been a part of. But I would just normally just like do a co-op on like a game I'm playing, whether it's an old retro title or a new release. And I've got episodes on both of the Jedi series that are on our Patreon. And one of them's out for free now, actually, recently. With Patrick. I'm on a tangent, but dude, Jedi Survivor and Pikmin 4, that's awesome. Matt, I know we could do this for hours, but dude, thank you for sharing about it. Just a smattering of your history with games. That was really fun to hear.
Thanks for asking. I just feel like no one's ever asked that stuff, and it's a really big part of who I am. Thanks for giving me the opportunity, man.
Dude.
Yeah.
100%. It's like truly, it's the easiest way for me to connect to people and the most fun I have. So thank you.
This shirt, by the way. Sorry, this shirt's Nintendo. It says Nintendo New York.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love it.
I'm always repping.
Dude, the only thing I have from that store, I've been twice, but I went back in like around Christmas 22, and I have a Pikmin water bottle. Speaking of Pikmin.
Hell yeah.
So that was my one
awesome.
My one prize. But we are going to go ahead and take a quick break on the show, and then when we come back, we'll finally get into all things Persona 5 Royal. So, Matt, I will see you on the other side. Welcome back to Call Me By Your Game. Connor McCabe returning after the break to get into all things Persona 5 Royal with Matt Acevedo. Matt, welcome back.
Yo, happy to be back. Let's do it, man.
I realized I was just so focused on pronouncing your last name with the ah as opposed to the ah that I think I called you Mott as I reintroduced you.
I did hear that, but I'm like, that's a good.
So feel free if you want to go by Mott now, you can.
You're close because in Spanish it would be Mateo, so you're like close. You're very close. You know
what? I'll pretend like that was intentional. That's what I'll do.
I'm like, dang, this guy's like bilingual. You know?
Yeah, I can tell. He puts a little sauce on some of his words in an unnecessary way. Really showing off as a white guy. Well, Matt. Before we finally, get into like your personal time with this game, like I told you before, we're going to set the table and just give a little basic information of some history and context about Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal. And if you want to jump in at any time and add something on, feel free. Whether you're like, ooh, Connor, it's important to mention this developer on the game or whatever, you can do that.
Cool.
All right.
Sounds good, man.
Without further ado, I'll just start to monologue a little bit and we'll see where it takes us. Persona 5 is a modern JRPG and newest original released in the Persona series, developed by, do I have this right? P Studio?
P Studio.
Okay, great. And published by Atlas. The game is the 6th installment in the Persona series, itself a part of the larger Shin Megami Tensei franchise. And it was released for PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 originally in Japan in September 2016, and then worldwide in April 2017. I do remember, while I haven't played this game, being in like, do you know Patrick and Mark through improv? Is that how you guys met?
Yeah, I met Patrick through improv.
Okay.
But I met Mark through NVC, Nintendo Cartridge Society.
Okay, there you go. So this is context that is not unfamiliar for you, but I remember being in an improv practice from one of my original indie teams in my old apartment, and I was talking about how I was so excited about the original Switch coming out with Breath of the Wild, and our coach, I don't know if you know the name Jake Sprague, but Jake was like, "Oh, dude, that's cool. I'm playing this game called Persona 5. Do you know about it?" And so I kind of just remember hearing about it, April 2017.
Yeah.
Anyway, an enhanced version featuring new content, Persona 5 Royal, was later released for the PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, PS5, Windows, Xbox One, and the Xbox Series consoles. Taking place in modern-day Tokyo, the story follows a high school student known by the codename Joker, who transfers to a new school after he is framed for assault and put on probation. Over the course of a school year, he and other students awaken to a special power, becoming a group of secret vigilantes known as the Phantom Thieves of Hearts. They explore the metaverse, a supernatural realm born from humanity's subconscious desires to steal malevolent intent from the hearts of adults and change their hearts. As with previous games in the series, the party battle enemies known as shadows, using physical manifestations of their psyche known as personas, hence where that whole name comes from. The game incorporates role-playing and dungeon crawling elements alongside social simulation scenarios. I have a little more to share just about like the context of the game itself, but when it comes to the game, whether it be little narrative or like the gameplay, are there any important bullet points we should include here that you're like, it's like, oh, I got to share this before we run past?
Okay, so first off, yeah, that was a great synopsis.
Huge.
But the game itself is like a heist within a heist. It is like an homage to like the heist genre.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, and there are a few like major twists where so big that if you were streaming the game, Atlas made it that you were not allowed to stream because it's on a day system. Like you have a day, and a day you can do something during the school day and then something at night. So you have two activities you can do, and then you go to the next day. But after a certain day, Atlas would not let you stream past those days.
Oh wow, because of the spoiler stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you know if that's still something they do, or was that like around release they were sort of hindering that, I guess?
It was just around release. Now that it's been like, I think they waited like a year or something, but they were really protective of like not spoiling what happens.
I guess they would, what I'm presuming they would like, I don't know, strike the stream or like strike an account sort of somehow.
I think they would strike it somehow.
Okay.
I don't know what the punishment was, but all the streamer friends were like, yeah, we can't stream past, I think it was like the July something. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up the calendar system and like the options you have for the different, I guess, activities that you can do. Huge part of the series, right?
Oh man, this game's so crunchy because yes, you have the metaverse, which the metaverse is actually Joker like discovers it on his phone. It appears as an app, and the app like he just when it appears on your app, then you just wander into like the metaverse, and the metaverse is you fight like through I think it's like 6 different people of power that you're trying to like change their cognition.
Okay.
Well, the world that you go into is the world of how that person sees the world. So like the first one is Kamoshida, and he is the volleyball coach who's like he thinks he's like a really big deal and stuff, but he's like I guess I should put a trigger warning just because the game does so I guess this is your trigger warning.
Yes, thank you.
Great. But like, Kamoshida like sexually assaults women and high schoolers and like blackmails on Takamaki, who's Panther, into like kind of like being a little like submissive because Ann knows that like her best friend was like assaulted by this guy, and he manipulates and gaslights everyone to not believing that. And in his palace, he is a king, and everyone else is like a servant. So that's the first palace. And it gets so bad where, and this is where Ann like teams up with Joker and Ryuji is because her friend tries to commit suicide because it was too much because no one would like believe her. So she literally jumps off a building. She survives, but it's like an attempt suicide.
Wow.
Which then Panther or On and the crew go and like in order to like steal so within everyone's psyche is something called a treasure, and to get the whole point is you want to try and steal that person's treasure to have them have a change of heart to confess to all the crimes that they've done. But they can't know who's after them. That's why they will go after the code name. But they need to be aware that someone is going after them. They're like targeting them. So that's why they send a calling card. Once they locate within the cognition where the treasure is, they send a calling card like you're going to pay for your crimes, and that's where it goes on high alert and the treasure manifests and they steal the treasure that they like hold dear. And I think Kamoshida's was like a trophy. It was like it's something manifested and they steal it and then they confess to all of their crimes. So that's kind of how it works in a nutshell.
Interesting. It's very like Psychonauts-y too. Did you ever play the Psychonauts series?
Oh, I love that series,
dude.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if I would have known this, that would have been like a great recommendation for something that has a similar, like, I guess a similarity to this game, just in the fact of going into someone's consciousness and seeing how they view the world. That's amazing. Well, I'm glad. Thank you for sharing that too. And I have heard that like some of those like more sensitive subject matter like that is a part of the series in general.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. And it's like I guess I'll start talking about On for a second, who's the blonde-haired girl who's like everyone says she's like a beauty queen and stuff, but like in Kamoshida's palace, she sees herself almost like in like a bikini and like sexualized at like his feet, and she like overcomes that herself and like rips off the mask, so that's the cognition that people perceive her as, to kind of get the power of rebellion, to break through the social norms that people are projecting onto her. And that's where that's the awakening moment. So every character has this like awakening moment, overcoming the societal pressure that people are putting onto them. It's like that, and that's just On. That's the first, Yeah,
gosh, there's so much to it. That's incredible. But thank you for bringing that up, though, because all of that distills down, or I feel like you really put into perspective sort of a huge aspect of this game, these missions, and like, what were you saying? The people are called, the like 6 people that you're doing this 2 or 4?
Yeah, those are like the targets. So like those are like that's their palace. So
yes,
after you defeat one, like now the people, also the society started to become aware of the Phantom Thieves, and I should say too that like at the beginning of the game, the whole game starts in a casino heist that goes awry and it's like the Phantom Thieves in the future, and Joker gets captured and he's in a casino and he gits interrogated by Sai, who is Makoto Nijima, who is my favorite character. I don't know if you have like fictional crushes. That's like my first I'm like, wow, this is a character, like, wow,
incredible.
Who's but it's her sister who is the prosecutor. So the whole game, it's like you're kind of backtracking while Joker's being interrogated in a cell by Sei about like the Phantom Thieves and like their crimes and stuff like that. So which you get more and more, it gets uncovered later.
Incredible. Dude, that's amazing context.
Yeah.
The last little bit I want to say about this before we like really dive into your time with it is that Persona 5 received significant praise for its visual representation, gameplay, story, and music, including Royal. Persona 5 sold over 7.2 million copies by April 2023, so about 2 years out of date. So it's certainly sold more than that at this point, making it the best-selling title in the Megami Tensei franchise. Several pieces of related media have also been produced, including 4 spin-off games: Dancing Starlight, Persona 5 Strikers, Persona 5 Tactica, and Persona 5 The Phantom X, as well as manga and anime adaptations. The game's cast has also appeared in other games, with probably the most notable being Joker appearing as a playable character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as one of the first DLC packs. Fair to assume you, as a Switch owner, have Smash Ultimate and have played as Joker?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And that reveal at the Video Game Awards.
Yes, dude.
The Video Game Awards got a calling card from the Phantom Thieves. I was like, no way.
Yes. Now, I remember that imagery because he kind of like holds it and it's like an envelope with a little stamp, I think.
Yeah, it says, take your heart. Or steal your heart. Yeah.
That was like, man, I mean, this is a tangent, but Smash in general, like, I'm even not being a Persona fan, I was excited about that because I knew how big of a deal it was. That's so cool. Matt, before we talk a little bit more about history and context, dive into your personal connection with this game, Is there anything else we should include bullet point wise that would be important, or do you feel ready to move on?
There's another thing in terms of gameplay I think we should touch on. That's a very important part of this, because yes, you have the actual JRPG element where you're going into palaces and you're fighting shadows and with your personas and stuff. There's two things I should touch on. First off, the gameplay mechanic of you have the ability to, every persona you encounter or like shadow you encounter, you can like convince them. There's an option, instead of like defeating them, you can try and persuade them to joining your team. And Joker is the only persona holder who has the ability to like change the active persona that he has.
Oh, okay.
And they're all different. Every persona has a different tarot card like name. So, like their tower, lover, whatever. And that's important because another important aspect of the game that's outside of the JRPG that does affect what you do in the palace is there's something called social links. So in your daytime, you have the ability to, it's a very important part of choosing who you can hang out with in the game and learning more about, you gain social link points to kind of learn more about them and develop a stronger and stronger bond. And where it gets a little crunchy is while you're developing that, if you go meet with someone, like if I go talk to you, Connor, and you have like the Fool or the Lover or whatever Arcana, if I make like Joker have that Arcana persona, it's going to give you more skill points to like level up that relationship faster. And in turn, the really higher you could get, it's up to level 10, and when you unlock each level, you can make higher like level persona within like the world. Within like the actual palaces. So it's a bit crunchy, and it gets to a point too where you can also romance, and that's another part of the game. So once you get to a certain level, you can actually romance people too, which is very fun.
Dude, so much depth to all of this too.
Yeah, there's also a palace. There's also a thing called Mementos, which is it is a part of the bigger thing. But one of the activities you can choose to do is go into Mementos, which is basically like a dungeon crawl to like grind and like rack up XP. But it also uncovers like an important part of the story.
Dude, incredible. Like, this is one of those games that I'm like, I know I'll like this, but it feels like such a titanic task to like dive into, because I know it's, if you want to get the full thing out of it or the full experience, it's rich and lengthy. But dude, you've done a great job helping us set this up.
Thanks, man.
I'll go ahead and kind of pivot us to finally getting into your experience. And I want to start by finding out how you came to play this game in the first place. Did you know the series before? Was it on a whim? How'd you play it?
I had heard of it, and at the time I was working at Hyper the first time around, back in 2017 when we were live stream, and I live streamed it for like a little bit when it first came out, but I never owned a PlayStation 4 until like closer to the pandemic. So so I touched on it. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. But it wasn't until, and I wasn't really big on the Shin Megami Tensei series at the time. I am now. Just like all of it. Like, Metaphori Fantazio is crazy good.
Yes.
But like, so I didn't get it until I ended up buying a PS4 used from a friend, and it brought us into the pandemic. And I started playing this game in the pandemic.
Okay.
Or right before the pandemic. I started in January of 2020.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And why this game was so important to me is, in the pandemic, we couldn't talk to anyone. We couldn't see anyone. And this game is as crazy as this sounds.
Yeah.
It felt like I was developing a relationship with all of these characters and these social links. And it gave me it just gave me something to look forward to. And I'm like, oh, I gotta go hang out with Ryuji, or I gotta go hang out with An, and work on that relationship.
Yeah.
And it gave me a social life. It sounds so crazy, but it gave me a social life in the pandemic where I did not have one. And
dude.
Yeah.
Well, that's so relatable. It doesn't sound crazy at all. I know why you might have that reaction to articulating that thought and that reality for you, but it's similar to why, and I know there's a little discrepancy that I'll present, but it's similar to why people connected with Animal Crossing New Horizons so hard. Not just that was an actual way for us to see our friends, in quotes, go to someone's island, have people visit, but even just in the context and the vacuum of your own island, many of us got a similar thing out of that by interacting with the NPCs or building our island. So that makes a ton of sense, and it sounds like like for you and many people that it maybe didn't fill the void of like social connection, but it at least helped put a few like drops in that bucket. Maybe does that feel fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
dude, totally fair. It was like it was like it was like the Animal Crossing thing for sure.
Yeah,
you know, and which I also like got into as well. But it just felt like, because every time you hung out with them, you were learning more and more.
Yeah,
and you know, it was the writing's really, really good, and not just that. You know, the overall storing of like people kind of coping to their like confessing to all the wrongs they did. It felt very like relatable at the moment. With I don't need in the world.
Yeah,
you know?
No, definitely
Yeah.
in all the context that like the different like big social events of 2020. Like I can absolutely see where that might lead for sure.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
It felt real personal, and I just really love these characters a lot. Like
Yeah.
I said, I kind of like fell in love with Makoto Nijima, which
Yeah.
is so fucking.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I can't cuss. I didn't mean to cuss. My
Oh, you
bad.
can cut. Hey, this isn't
you can
NCS,
cuss?
buddy.
Oh, yeah, dude.
You can even say the word "damn" on here.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. But yeah, it's just it felt like real. It was crazy, dude. It was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
It sounds like, I mean, this is not really a surprise hearing this from you because not about that, but just not the depth, just the depth that was in the game, but the intentionality and just how rich it is. It makes sense that you and other people have gotten so much out of this title because of so much that was put into it.
Yeah.
That's really fun to hear about.
And the style is so cool. Like
Yeah.
those games, like their Atlas does, P Studio does a great job of stylizing everything. It's like their UI system is incredible, you know, and like,
Yes.
then the soundtrack is so good that, oh my God, dude, if you ever like just Sega, like in general makes great soundtracks, you know, and the Persona soundtrack, dude, like the Lynn's vocals tracks. Oh,
Dude.
it's so good. I have the vinyls back there, dude.
Ooh.
All the Persona vinyls are back there.
That's incredible. Dude, I mean, it's true. Like I've said, I've never played a game. Maybe I haven't said this. I've never played a game in this series. I've listened to the music before. And
Yeah.
that's amazing on itself. The style and like how stylish, like so much of the UI, the animation like of this game, it really sticks out and is so obvious from like seeing moments of gameplay.
Yeah, it's incredible, dude. So, and we haven't even like just the arcs that each character goes on, and like for example, like you might run into someone who's like the gun shop owner, Iwata,
Yeah.
you know, and like this guy, he's like kind of cold at first, but he sells you it's airsoft guns because like in the you take it with you into the metaverse and it becomes real, you know. against the
Yes, I
shadows.
see.
But,
Yeah.
but airsoft governor, but like you've learned more about him, you developed like the social link relationship, and you're just like learned that like, oh, this is just a dude who like kind of like disconnected from his son and wants to reconnect, and like you help him.
Yeah.
And like Joker comes into these people's lives, he's known as like the trickster, you know, and he comes in and like kind of through developing like a stronger bond with them, helps them kind of like overcome their internal struggles. And it's like beautiful, dude. Like,
Yeah.
how we it shows like in real life, like we help each other out and like we overcome things with each other's support. So they do a really good job of articulating that in this game, you know.
Yes. No, that's great. And it's no real surprise to hear because of how much praise I've heard from this before about
Yeah.
those specific details.
Yeah.
So like, okay.
Sorry, his name's EY, not Iwata. EY. IWAI. Sorry. Yeah.
I was like, wow, interesting. I wonder if they were referencing Satoru Iwata. That makes sense. There's obviously we could talk about this game forever. I have a few questions I want to ask you, and also
Yes.
anything you feel like bringing up, you can. You've talked about, you know, the depth of like the social links, the style, the music. I'd love to hear from you too, if you'd like to share about the gameplay and if anything stuck out to you about like the battling, because that's something that I've heard is really great about this game as well.
I think, especially in Royal, Royal is it makes it a little more user friendly for grinding. Like if you go into
nice.
the metaverse on your off days or whatever, the more powerful you are. If you're so powerful, you can just like run around and slash things that are weak, and you'll get like the XP and the treasure.
Oh,
so
I love when a game does that.
Yeah, exactly, dude. So that they made it really easier. It wasn't in the first version of it, but the Royal it did. And then the actual gameplay is so fun. It's like you're trying to, each persona shadow you fight has different weaknesses. So what you want to do is you want to like use figure out if it's an elemental weakness, like freeze or fire or whatever, or if it's like, can you just shoot them with your bullet or ammo?
Sure.
And once you find their weakness or you get a critical, it knocks them down. And if you knock down all of the enemies, you get something called a showtime, which is a team-based attack that is like your team like ult attack that like you kind of wail on them. It gets rid of all the defenses and everything, and you're able to unload on them. It gets really hard later, and I love that. But just take the time to like don't be afraid to use buffs on your team. That's all you really got. Buffs and debuffs are huge. Like have a support character, like the big secret boss is like the Reaper, which is in every game. If you stand too long in the metaverse, he'll come and attack you.
Wow.
Yeah, but there's an achievement for actually beating him. I've beaten him in all 3 games so far that I played.
Okay.
But it's just don't fight him until higher level.
Yes.
Take your time, buff, debuff, So it's a very fun system. And you can like, if you knock someone down, you can like throw the turn over to another character to give them like a slight boost too. And like, it's really, really fun, dude. Like, yeah.
Dude, that sounds incredible. And very like engaging and fun and rewarding the more you put into it. Like so many aspects of this game sound like.
Yeah, exactly. And what I love too is that you have the Velvet. We haven't even touched the Velvet Room. The Velvet Room is like, it's also a big part of the story, but like, the Velvet Room is ran by this character named Igor, who has this huge long nose and is in every Persona game.
Okay.
And his 2 assistants, who are like the jailers, and that's where Joker awakens. He awakens in like a jail cell in the cognitive world, and they give him the gift of the Trickster because they see that he has special power to like affect the world, and that's how he kind of gets his ability. But in the Velvet Room is where you can like fuse personas, and it kind of like Pokemon not like. It's like breeding in Pokemon a little bit. But like, but faster,
Yes.
And you can get, I think, as you level up, you can hold more up to like 10 persona.
Okay.
So Joker can switch them all out, and you can build your party, making sure you have like, this one's going to be for like buffs and debuffs. This one's for this weakness, whatever. So you can kind of build Joker around that. And then everyone else has one element from your different party members. So try to mix and match that,
That's really fun. Probably maybe gives the opportunity to feel creative.
Yeah, absolutely. And people get really crunchy with the persona creation, and that's a step too far for me. I'm like, I get it, but it's like the final secret boss is like impossible to defeat, unless you're like really put in the time.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah. No, I can relate to that too. Plenty of games that I've put like, so many hours into and gone so in depth, and I'm like, but there's a level where I'm like, I think I'm okay with not engaging with that another echelon or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
That's incredible. Is there a stretch in this game? Because I know it's a long title. Was there a stretch that's most memorable to you, whether it be a level or like a month in the game that like you think of when you think of this title?
Oh man, absolutely. Like, first, there's so many. They do such a good job.
Yeah.
For me, I'm gonna simp, but I love Makoto Nijima so freaking much, and I know people might feel different, and that's cool. Feel just like who you're gonna like, But her arc is great because she is the class president, and she lives by herself with her older sister who is the prosecutor, and she has so much pressure on her, and she kind of at first feels very cold and like mean and like kind of like not like kind of like bratty and but you learn, not bratty is not the right term, but like like intense, you know?
Yeah.
And she tries to uncover like the Phantom Thieves early on, and you see that like you learn that the principal is actually working with like this mafia guy named Kaneshiro, who is like a money launderer, and the principal is using Makoto to try and discover the Phantom Thieves, but Makoto finds out that the system is corrupt, and that and she has all this pressure on her from like having to be like, you know, people think she needs to be perfect. The principal, like, not if she doesn't pursue, like, she will like he'll like, you know, screw her over for like the future for college and stuff like that, where she tries and go and discover Kaneshiro herself, and like gets captured, and and the Black Phantom Thieves and her have to like go into Kaneshiro's cognition to try and like, because he's trying to blackmail these Phantom Thieves. Anyways, her moment of awakening is amazing to me, because she like overcomes, like, she all the pressure of like people putting all these things on her, that she needs to be perfect, that she needs to be all this. She's like, I'm fucking tired of it. And she like rips off her mask, and her persona of rebellion is like in a leather suit, and her persona is literally a freaking motorbike. Like,
whoa.
and like she like overcomes it and has this amazing evolution and this blossoming, and becomes this like really confident, like strong character, the strong person that is almost like the brains of the operation for the Phantom Thieves. And she like, it's just her awakening is so freaking cool. And then you defeat Kaneshiro with her, you know, and like he's in the form of like a fly, and his treasure was all along was a briefcase filled with fake money, because that's, oh dude, it's like, so that one like is really, really cool. Also, the Hawaii scene is really cool, because you get to like you go to Hawaii for a school trip.
Oh wow.
And you can have like a sunset. You can choose someone to go on like a sunset date with if you like have a high enough relationship. So I went on a date with Makoto.
Yes.
And it's like really sweet, and it's like really like it makes you feel like you're like a high schooler again. Like,
yes.
I don't know. It does a good job emulating that like young love feeling, you know?
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah.
Anyway, so that moment was really cool. And then also just like the turning point of the game is unreal, where is this a spoiler? It's not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler cast.
You can, hey, we'll put up some spoiler gates right now. The game's been around long enough. I think it's okay for you to share. But if I would say, if a listener, if you don't want to have a moment spoiled, maybe skip ahead a couple minutes. But go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I don't know, because I feel like I don't want to ruin it for you. You're going to play it.
You can also keep it whatever you want.
I'm going to like allude to it. So,
okay, sure.
There's a moment where in the game that's like, you think it's like, and how you answer questions, you know, you have that actually determines what happens. So you need to get like the true ending, you need to answer a series of questions correctly, or else that's it. And there's a moment in this, it's like the turning point. That's like the heist, like, I gotcha kind of moment that is unreal. It is so cool, and it follows around the character. It's Akechi Goro Akechi, who is a very important character. He is someone who is like seen as like a very popular and famous like kind of investigator and stuff, and he's after the he's like searching for the Phantom Thieves too. He's kind of like the Moriarty to Sherlock. Yeah. That's literally how, and you had to develop a relationship with him. So there's like a turning point. It's really cool, man.
Dude.
It's so good. And then there's a post, and then the last boss is like, you literally it's so emotional. It's so good.
Yeah.
The last boss is actually the, like, basically in every like JRPG, it's like you fight God, right?
Yeah.
But it's like you find out that like, oh, the boss the whole time was like it was the Holy Grail, but it's actually the like, it's this the God that basically has the will of all the people, where everyone's so down on themselves that he is like human, like everyone believes that like they're basically sheep to like this God, and he like manipulates the will of the people. So you fight God to free the will of the people.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts. And that's like the base game, and then you get into Royal, which is like the DLC. It's like the, you know, boosted game, and there's this character named Maruki who is like the school therapist that shows up in this version of the game, and this character named Sumire, who this is also a spoiler, so maybe I don't know. Or her name's Kasume. Excuse me, it's Kasume.
Yes.
And she's like this redhead, like ballerina looking character, and in this world, in the post game, all of a sudden, like, Morgana's a human being, and like everyone has everything that they thought they dreamed that they wanted, and there's no problems at all. But Joker and Akechi appears, in this, and he's like, something's not right here, and you work together with Akechi and Kasume to stop Maruki, who basically got the through the final fight against that god. He was able to get something out of it where he was able to manipulate the world to give everyone what they wanted, but without the struggle and without
I see. Yeah,
it's like the metaphor of like, without the struggle, this isn't like a reality that we want to live in, and it's really beautiful. And you work together to like stop him from, and that's like the post game, and you find out that this is a big spoiler, but Kasumi, she felt responsible for her sister's death, and so Kasumi is actually this girl named Sumire, who is the sister of Kasumi, who Sumire felt responsible for Kasumi's death. So she like put on the persona that she was her sister to try and like, it's fucking
almost like
crazy.
Give her a life she didn't have, sort of thing.
Yeah,
dude.
Exactly, dude. It's but then she like takes back her power of and owning that she wasn't responsible for her sister's death. And dude,
there's so much. Yeah, dude.
This game.
I mean, I'm sure we could just hours and hours of details we could probably go over, but and I'll leave some more space too for you to share whatever, like if there's another detail we want to get into. I want to see if there's any I want to get into a little bit more of like the context of when you played it, and I want to start by, can you like scene paint for me where you would have been set up playing this game, like what the room was like? Can you describe it to me?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's my living room, which is right behind this wall.
Okay,
over
nice.
here, right behind that wall. I have twinkle lights set up. I have some like pothos plants out there, and like my, I have like a little shelf with like, my my art, video game art books, and like I have like a 8.6 rated graded Mario story, which is Paper Mario, but Japan.
Yeah.
And Mario 64 up there, and it's very, I think we do a good job of making our apartment very cozy. Even in the pandemic, we were very cozy.
Yes.
And we have our little coffee table in front. If the game is on a IKEA a stand, like a brown IKEA TV stand that has within it has my Xbox Series S, my Switch, my PlayStation 5, and I switch over to PlayStation 5 once I got it.
Yeah.
Or no, I guess I did play on my PlayStation because the 5 came out later. Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
But yeah, and then just kind of sitting on my gray couch, and and in the game, it's you live at you're kind of, because at the beginning of the game you're framed for assaulting this woman,
yes,
or this guy, but all Joker was doing was stopping this drunk guy from like assaulting a woman.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
but that's the catalyst that sends him to a different school and to live with his with basically the person who's like kind of watching him as Sojiro Sakura, who runs a curry and coffee shop. So the vibes in there, in a coffee shop called LeBlanc, and the coffee vibes in there is really chill. And they're always like, oh, let's have some curry and coffee. So I would literally make myself a cup of coffee, and
Dude.
I would it's very, very cozy, and just
Yes.
play the hell out of this game. So that's
just vibe out so hard.
yeah. And I leave the windows open, and you just hear nature because no one was really driving.
Yeah. Dude, the air quality was significantly better for a time too. I remember seeing like pictures like over that year where it was like, this is what the air looked like, or like at least like the cityscape, the air, you can even see the difference between like February 2020 and like April 2020 and how clear everything was.
Yeah, dude. It's like, I think of that Captain America quote in Endgame. It's like, I saw some whales in the Hudson River.
Yeah.
Like maybe Thanos wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. But yeah, but that's cool. You created such a cozy little environment while you would play this game.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
I know that you have like got into it a little bit earlier, but is there any, whether it be more of a general memory or like a feeling that you had from that time, or anything specific that you wanted to get into while you're here as well?
Yeah. Well, definitely the feeling of like camaraderie. You really feel it in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, I know everyone's got the romance who they romance in this
Yes.
game, but there's no wrong choice, guys. There's no wrong choice. This is Connor, like this is a heated thing on like Persona Reddit. People like
Yes.
fighting over like who they freaking want to like
Oh my
romance.
gosh. Yeah.
But there's no wrong choice. It's all based on your preference. It's whatever. They're all great characters.
Yeah.
That's what's great about this game. But I will say the game does a really good job of kind of like making you feel like all like a little kid again.
Yeah.
Like falling for a crush. I think they do a really good job of that. Take that how you will, but
Totally.
yeah, and not just that, just like because in order to do some things and like to hang out with some people, you need to up your skills as well. So in your everyday life, you need to up like your courage, your wisdom, intelligence, etc. And I remember being like, oh, I gotta go to the batting cages to up my strength or like my confidence, and like
Yes.
So you go to the batting cages or like
Wow. Very made for you.
yeah, exactly, dude. And like, and oh, I had to go. It's like, oh, this person wants to go see a movie. Like, oh, I'll go with Ryuji and go watch a movie.
Yes.
It's like really, really cool. Like, I don't know, the way they have. I've never seen a game kind of really effectively. I mean, Persona 4 and 3 were the ones that started it.
Yeah.
But 5, I think, really was like the pinnacle of like what they built on.
Cool.
So this is like. It feels so good to invest the time in hanging out with every person. But I will say this, Connor, this is very important.
Yeah.
It also got stressful towards the end because you want to max out everyone's social links by the end of it. But you have to be careful because like there's only X amount of days in
Yes.
this game. So I had to max out the social links. They also like actually play into effect of like holidays and like school exams. So you're gonna lose social hangout days.
Yeah.
But I had a note calendar of every single person and when they were available to hang out, so I
Yes.
can max out my time hanging out with every single person.
Yeah.
Because
Because you had to be that intentional, or you could miss some. I'm gathering.
Yeah, and I would honestly say I think it's okay to use a guide for this. I really
Yeah.
don't think that's going to take away from your experience. It's a very crunchy game. I think it's okay to use a guide for this.
Totally. That's cool. Dude, there's just been so much. I'm not going to have you wrap up quite yet, but we're getting there. I wanted to open it up to you too before we maybe put a bow on this whole thing and say, is there another detail that you haven't included yet that you really want to talk about? And that could be game related. That could be the context of your life when you played. Is there one last thing you feel like sharing while we're here? Could even be an aspect of like a thing in the game or a character we haven't talked about. Whatever you'd like.
Okay, yeah. We didn't. I think something that I think is really, really cool is one of the final bosses before, like towards the end game, before you fight, like there's a big catalyst moment where you're starting to change people's hearts and they're starting to confess things, right? And there's a moment where you what's her freaking name? Oh my gosh.
And you've named so many
Haru.
people today. I've been so impressed that you can retain all like these. I don't know. You've named 30 characters while we've been here, but you said Haru.
Dude. Yeah. So Haru is she's the beauty thief. She joins the Phantom Thieves late in the game. She's dope. But her story is that her dad is like this corrupt business owner, and his name's Okumura, and he owns Okumura Foods, and he's known for like abusing his workers, and he's also forcing Haru into an arranged marriage to benefit his company.
Wow.
And when you finally, he's also the fucking hardest boss in the game. There's a timer. Oh, he's the worst. He is the most annoying boss. There's a fucking timer. Sorry,
You're all
if you
good,
get to
dude.
Okumura, he is so annoying. He's got a timer.
That's so frustrating, and I'm sure it's hard enough without that.
Absolutely, yeah. But when you beat him, he's on stage, he's about to confess, and then he fucking dies. He his eyes roll back and he dies. It's what the hell? Yeah, and then the principal, there's a cutscene where he's talking to some big bad of some sort, and then he fucking dies. And then that's where it gets to a moment where someone's fucking framing the Phantom Thieves, and you find out that it's this is a spoiler, but the person who's helping. It's like a tag team thing where it's like you find out that Akechi Goro, who's like the Moriarty to Joker, is the one who's like helping to frame these. He's going into, because if you like kill someone in the metaverse, they die.
Wow.
So you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So he's working for this politician who's running for re-election, whose name is Shido, and he's the mastermind behind like all the people dying. He's working with you find out Akechi is his bastard son, and he's been working to try and get like the approval again, and he's going in and like fucking trying to frame the Phantom Thieves, and he's the guy at the beginning of the fucking game that was assaulting a woman while he was drunk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my gosh, comes full circle.
Yeah, it's a huge spoiler, but like it's crazy.
Dude, that's nuts. So there's even like, I love even hearing about this. There's even like, after all the stuff you've shared about this game, there's even like a huge mystery to it.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
And I still didn't even reveal like everything, dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Incredible. Well, Matt, I've got a couple of fun post-show segments to get us into in a second. But before we do, can you do me a favor and just like wrap up the place that Persona 5 holds in your life and put a bow on this discussion?
Yeah, Persona 5 Royal was a blanket in a very dark time for me that kept me warm. And, it's a very big game, but as the loading screen would tell you, take your time. It's not meant to be played quick. It's okay to go slow with it. And if you stay with it, it is an ultimately rewarding game. And it will, if you play it as the song goes in the game, your life will change, in my opinion.
Wow.
So,
wow. Yeah. Well said. That's incredible. Well, we got, like I said, a couple of fun things to do before we go. But Matt, thank you for bringing on this game to discuss it today and finally getting this Persona 5 discussion out, Persona 5 Royal really discussion out on the pod. And thanks for doing it, dude.
Dude, thanks so much for having me. It's been an absolute blast, dude.
I love it. Well, before we go, I'll get us into the first of our two post-show segments, the first of which is the Fact Me by Your Game segment, and that's where I'm just going to share a couple of fun facts with you about this game since you brought it on, and you might even know about these. I've got one today. I have one fun fact, and then I have one Easter egg that you may have caught. The first of which, or the fun fact, I have titled, "This actually is your granddaddy's battle system." So this fun fact comes from a PlayStation Japan blog originally published on September 21st, 2016. By the way, I've got a couple of citations here. There will be a link in the show notes where people can like check out this blog or even watch a video for something later. So the fact itself. While the final game retains a turn-based battle system from the earlier entries and, iterates on it, one of the early design drafts for this title was an action-based system incorporating real-time elements foreign to the series. Were you aware of this?
I did not know that. That's wild.
I mean, it's funny that you were talking about, loving the action RPG nature of Kingdom Hearts earlier. Maybe we don't have the exact details here, but maybe it was similar. In fact, the blog might even dive into it. But this idea was, of course, ultimately scrapped, but real-time command elements were introduced into the battle system, allowing the gameplay to evolve without extensive changes to the core system. So I guess, I don't know how close this game was to having more of an action RPG battle system, but at least it was an idea. And I don't know, does that sound surprising to you?
That I honestly did not know that was a thing. It is surprising to me, but it's cool because you get to see the action RPG element in the direct sequel, which is Strikers.
Yes.
But that's more of a Muso game, I'm not a fan of Muso games. It's a little too I feel like it's a little too mindless and less like intentional with like what you're fighting.
Yeah, fighting like waves of enemies, right?
Yeah. But the story in Strikers is very good, and I think there are probably elements of that RPG maybe in that because it is still Persona. Like while it is a Muso game, you're actually able to stop and do like your Persona stuff. Okay. So it might be, maybe it's inspired by the early concepts. Yeah.
Gosh, now I want to find out more about that, but that's interesting. Incredible. So that's our first fun fact. Well, that's our fun fact today. And now here's our Easter egg. I have this just titled Studio Ghibli reference, A Delight. This comes from a video that I'll also link in the show notes, Gaming Bolt's video titled 11 Persona 5 Secrets, Easter Eggs, and References You May Have Missed. So while it's not uncommon for Japanese media to reference Studio Ghibli films, and that includes Persona 5, My Neighbor Totoro is referenced in this game. It might be a quick moment or it may be a big thing that's caught, but I guess that Morgana at a certain point makes a quip about cats turning into buses and how that phenomenon isn't foreign to the general public, referring to a moment in... Have you seen My Neighbor Totoro?
Absolutely. Classic.
Yes.
Classic.
So
yeah.
There's an early iconic moment in the film where the two main characters are waiting alongside the forest spirit, Totoro, for a bus, and it arrives, of course, in the form of this like giant-looking cat thing. So that being what Morgana's referencing here.
Yeah, I do remember that actually, because and then also you literally ride Morgana as a bus, and when the first time when you hear him and like mention it, that's where you know, he makes that quote. Yeah,
Morgana being a cat, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So really funny reference there. Anyway, fans of the Studio Ghibli movies might enjoy that. So I'll put a link to that video in there as well. That'll do it for the Fact Me By Your Game segment, and we'll conclude with our final segment, the game recommendations. Now, Matt, as I was alluding to earlier, this segment is my forced tie-in to the movie Call Me By Your Name, where I am going to treat Persona 5 Royal as your passionate fling in Italy. This is, you know, a game you fell in love with. It was fiery, it was hot, but it ultimately is not going to last forever. So in order to help you get over this heartbreak of ending this relationship, I've got 3 recommendations that all have a little something in common with the game that you brought on today. The only thing is, I've got to know, are you ready to get back out there?
Oh, you know, it's going to be hard, but I think this is going to be good for all of us, you know?
I think it will, and I'm really proud of you for being brave today. So all of these 3 recs are going to have a little something in common with the game today. Being Persona 5 Royal. The first of which, my first recommendation, is if you want to play another generational JRPG that's modern, but you want it to be just a little more traditional, I'll recommend the title Dragon Quest XI S, Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch. I know you're a big JRPG fan. Have you ever played this game?
Oh, I love that game.
Perfect, yes.
I geeked out with Patrick Ellers on that when it came out. We were like texting nonstop. Fernando is the king. I love Fernando.
Yes. I like another title that I've missed that I know I'm going to adore because I love a good JRPG, but I even put the full title in here as just an homage to that show because him and Mark have it in their creed to say the full title. But yeah, so a little more traditional than Persona 5 Royal, but like another all-timer. It's the cleanest recommendation we have today. The second of which is if you love the structure of a calendar, but you want to simplify things and just focus on the daily activities of simulating someone's life, I'll recommend a game that's actually never been ported from Japan, and that's a title called Boku no Natsuyasumi. Do you know this title at all?
I've never heard of that.
So
Boku no, does that mean I am not too hot to me?
It means, so it's I guess the translation is my summer vacation. It's a 2000 adventure video game developed by Millennium Kitchen and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the original PlayStation. It's directed, written, and designed by Kaz Ayabe, and this basically just follows. I can send you a link to it too. It follows.
Oh, this is great.
It's such a charming. Do you know the YouTuber Tim Rogers?
No.
He's an incredible. He has this YouTube channel called Action Button where he basically will just like talk about a game that he feels like covering for a crazy amount of time, like 6 hours, and he has an insanely long video about this game. It's basically you just play as this boy going to his family's house for summer vacation, and it's just all about spending your summer however you want to, whether you want to go catch bugs, whether you want to hang out with your cousin. And this, I have never been so fixed. That's not the word I'm looking for. Just enraptured by a video of a game I'll never be able to play because it's Japan. It was never translated from Japan, but it looks like an absolute delight. So it's a little long-winded for me, but if you want a game, like I said, it's got a structure of a calendar. It has a limited amount of time in the game, but it's relaxing. Boku no Natsuyasumi is your recommendation. And finally, Matt, this last recommendation is if you got into this game, which I know this isn't the case, but bear with me here. If you got into this game because you heard there's a character named Joker, and you're like, oh my God, I love the Joker. This is all I've ever needed. But you were disappointed because it's not the Joker you wanted, then I'll recommend a game that does have probably the most famous Joker, and that is Batman Arkham Asylum. I assume you see the connection there.
I definitely see the connection. Also, great game. Still a great game.
Yes.
Love that series, man.
Yes, my one joke entry into the recommendations. But we'll recap these. I'll just say the names again. Dragon Quest XI S, Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch. We have Boku no Natsuyasumi and Batman Arkham Asylum. Matt, that'll do it for the Rex, and that'll bring us to the conclusion of the podcast. So before we go, and again, plug whatever we want on our way out, dude, thanks for taking the time to do this. This was so much fun to get to know you a little better, to share a bombshell revelation of us waiting for our PlayStation 5s, and just to hear from you about this title. Thanks for doing it, dude.
Thanks so much for having me. I had a blast. I don't like I feel like sometimes I don't get to geek out about the games I really love. Yeah. So this was really special. So thanks for inviting me, man. I'm really happy to be here. You're
more than welcome. I'm so glad that we can make this work. On our way out, I know you plugged some stuff up top in the beginning of the podcast. What do you want the listeners to know? Where do you want people to find you?
Oh yeah, you can check it at just give me a ring at the Matt Acevedo on all socials. It's just my name with THE in front of it, and Great. Then check out Mass Effect Adventum, our tabletop RPG set in the Mass Effect universe using Mass Effect D20, a fan-made system. We've got 7 years. We've been going since 2017, so wow. That's eight years now we've been doing it. It's still going strong. So yeah, check it out, and it's never too late to hop aboard the Adventum. So check out the Rubicon crew. Yeah,
I love it. Well, dude, before I plug, I'll put everything that we're both plugging in the show notes. So if the listener wants to follow that or follow you, it's going to be very easy for them to do so. And without further ado, I'll close this out with some plugs of my own. The cover art for Call Me By Your Game is done by Glenn J. You can find that artist, the wonderful artist that he is, on Instagram, and a link in the show notes. This show is produced, edited, and the original music that you'll hear throughout is by the great Jeremy Schmidt. You can support him and thank him for his work on this podcast by listening to his show, Video Games, a Comedy Show, wherever you get your podcasts. It's also a part of our network here. You can follow me on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Twitch if you'd like. You can follow the show on Blue Sky, Instagram, and also on YouTube if you're a listener and you've not checked out our YouTube channel. I release every single episode on there, so if you want to see just a couple of handsome guys on a podcast, that's an easy place to do it. The only one I did screw up our Shovel Knight recording, so there's a video version, but there's no video of us actually talking. So check us out there. Definitely give us a subscription. We just hit over 100 subscribers, so I'd love to see that more people find us and that number grow. Share the show with a friend if you want. And then lastly, is that if you like me and the conversations I have with people about video games, then I've got a ton, and you've exhausted the library. You're like, Connor, I need more. And I've listened to every episode. Check us out on Patreon. That's a place where for supporting the show for a certain amount a month, whether it's at the free tier all the way up to whatever tier you like, there's bonus video game podcasts that I do on a weekly basis. If you want to follow our current Games Club series where we're playing Resident Evil 4 Remake, that's at the $5 DJ Toad tier and up. If you want to get an additional bonus version of this podcast, which is also on YouTube eventually, you can check us out at our Engineer Toad tier. But there's even stuff at the free tier. We'll send you a link to the Discord. There's a bunch of stuff there. Again, patreon.com/SuperNPCRadio if you just want to see how you can support us and get bonuses for that. And that'll do it for another episode of Call Me By Your Game. We will see you on the next one.